Hello everyone. Welcome to the day two training of Frankenstein debate. This is India's largest sustainability debate. We had a lot of conversation about what the monsters were, what were their characteristics, how were they different from each other. Can some of you just help me remind or play back what was happening in yesterday's class? Yes, Inayat.
Okay, so yesterday we were talking about how each of the monsters affect in the environment in every way, and there were three. So we could be one of the three monsters because they talk about how each and every one ruins the planet every day.
Yes, absolutely. Mariah. We can't really hear you, Mariah.
Ma'am, yesterday's class we had talked about the concept, right? That once again I was not able to understand them very well.
Yeah, that's true, Sarthak.
Ma'am, yesterday we learned about three monsters and what are the how will we speak? The three monsters. The first monster was the eco guzzler. Second was I don't remember the second one actually.
Unchecked consumerism.
Unchecked consumerism, and the third one was eco Tesla. And we talked about how they change the planet and what are their shocking facts.
Yes, absolutely, that is correct. I'll just recognize two more people, Shivansh and then Satvik.
Yes, ma'am. Yesterday we learned about different monsters, that how they are using the energy not appropriately and destroying our natural resources and our nature.
Yes, true. Satvik.
Yesterday we learned about three monsters, and they were the three monsters that are literally affecting our environment and how we live. The first monster was eco guzzler, and it was very selfish. The second monster was unchecked consumerism, when we take something that we don't really need. And guzzler Tussler was the monster that when we have war, the resources are being wasted.
Yes, that's true. Great, everyone. You all remember it. Just lower your hands down. We will be going and understanding the format very extensively today. Just hear me very clearly. If you have any doubts, just raise your hand. Do not speak out of turn because I also want to recognize everyone who will be there. The second thing is just ensure that you also keep your doubts in the chat box. If I'm unable to address it, I will genuinely be reading it in the chat box. Mariah, you're raising your hand. Do you want anything? I can't hear you. Can you just write it in the chat box because your voice is really feeble?
Ma'am, can we discuss the monsters once again? I was not very clear with them yesterday.
What you can do is you can just go ahead and watch the recording once again. I'm just going to help you revise them. Okay, somebody who can explain Ego Tussler, the first monster, please raise your hand. Sarthak, yes. Ridansh, you can explain unchecked consumerism to me. And Amara, you can explain the third monster.
Ma'am, Eco Guzzler was a monster which was very selfish and like took all the materials in a group and make us without the resources like like you have given in a team you have given us a limited amount, and like there's a eco guzzler and he takes all the resources and becomes very selfish with them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Ridansh, unchecked consumer.
Ma'am, the unchecked consumer is that it buys everything, but there is no need of anything. Like we destroy the resources. We, mm, buy things and we don't use them. We
Yes, absolutely. So unchecked consumerism is basically you buy a lot of things without checking what you really need, and you throw a lot of stuff without even wearing it like twice or thrice. Great, that was a good effort. Amira, can you explain the third monster?
Yes, ma'am. So the third monster was making wars, and a lot of resource was wasted.
Yes, absolutely. So the third monster deals with the wars that countries fight and the way in which these countries fight, resources get wasted. So we should think of peace and no wars. Great. I hope this is clear, Miraya. Now, lower your hands, everyone. We will be going towards the qualifier schedule and just going over the format very extensively. Yep. So you will be logging in on 28th March, and the Zoom, etc., will be given to you on your WhatsApp, and everything will be there on WhatsApp. You are not left out. At 2:45 p.m., you will be logging in and you will be giving your attendance like the way we do every day. You will be listening to briefings. If you have any doubts, you'll be going over them on 28th. From 3:30 to 4:30 p.m., you will have your round 1 WSDC match. The motions for round 1, round 2, round 3 will be released. I told you that round 1 and round two's motions are going to be same, just your sides will change. Round 3, the motion will be different and the sides will be informed. So we will be releasing essentially 2 motions today. The second is from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, you will have your round 2 WSDC. So
we
let's say,
have our prep time.
yep,
If
Kiara, can you please mute yourself? From 4:30, let's say your debate ended at 4 o'clock, or let's say 4:15, you will be logging out and you will be relaxing, or just like eat something, just get hydrated. Come back at 5 o'clock, because from 5 to 6, you will have your round 2 WSDC debate. From 6:30 to 7:30, now you have, so you all will be given your motions, which means from 6:30 to 7:30, you will actually be having your a little bit of preparation time. Like you can have it, let's say you aren't really prepared, or let's say you really want to prepare more, you can do that in 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. From 7:30 to 8:30, you will have your round 3 WSDC prepared motion. Motions will be given out to you, which means from 6:30 to 7:30, let's say you got a preparation time of 15 minutes. That's fine because you already are prepared on the motions. Any doubts on the schedule? Elena, Javik, do you have, will our opponents be the same? No.
so my question is that is do we have to stay continuously or will we get like breaks?
You get a break after your debate is over, precisely for 15 to 20 minutes. Everything is followed with the help of the schedule.
Okay.
Elena.
Our opponents won't be the same in round 1 and 2,
No, opponents will not be same.
and also in round 3, right?
Yes. Sarthak?
Ma'am, like what will we do between 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m.?
A break?
Oh, and ma'am, like 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. when we are preparing, we will be on the Zoom meeting with all of you, or
Yeah.
we will be on another meeting, or we will after the first and second round we will log out, then again join in.
Yes, it depends on you, on your teammates, and your communication with your team. Let's go to Ridansh.
Ma'am, I don't know about my teammates. Can you tell who are my teammates?
This will be informed to you by the end of the day.
Okay, ma'am.
Varnika.
Ma'am, like yesterday, you were telling that each speaker will have a time to speak of 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
So, when all of our team members have spoken and the opposition team has also spoken, only then we can leave the meeting, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would love if the questions are really related to something which is not clear, you have a doubt with. These are very, very obvious questions. Miraya.
Ma'am, we will be the topics, right?
Would love if you can write it in the chat box. I can't possibly hear you. Varnika. If you have no doubts, please lower. Yeah, if you have no doubts, please lower your hands. Great, let's go to the WSDC format. I'm just going to look at one more doubt. But yeah, let's start with the format first. You all remember that we discussed like a little bit of what the format was in the yesterday's class. I'm just going to help you all revise. So WSDC format is called World Schools Debating Championship. It's a format where you have two teams, proposition, opposition. Proposition has 3 speakers, opposition has 3 speakers. Do you all remember what was the name of the speakers in proposition and opposition? Sarthak remembers it. Can you help me identify what was the name of the speakers?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for proposition speaker one, it was Prime Minister. For proposition,
Yeah, you're going correct. Go ahead.
ma'am, for
Entire
proposition,
topics will be given today. I would love if you are attentive in the class.
ma'am, proposition speaker two is called Deputy Prime Minister. Proposition speaker three is called Government.
Okay, that's correct. I'm just going to help you all revise it once again. So proposition speaker 1 is called Prime Minister. Proposition speaker 2 is called Deputy Prime Minister. Proposition speaker 3 is called Government Whip. Opposition speaker 1 is called Leader of Opposition. Opposition speaker 2 is called Deputy Leader of Opposition. Opposition speaker 3 is called Opposition Whip. I'm going to write it down and we have slides explaining all of this. So yeah, even if you don't remember it, just try to remember it. Worst case, just say speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. Okay, great. There will be 3 rounds which will be played on qualifier day, which is 28. You just have 1 day, and in those 1 days, you will be just doing 3 rounds. That's it. The topic which will be released today after the class, it's in the last slide. Yep. The round 1 and round 2 topics are same, just your sides will change. So let's say in round 1 you are government or proposition, in round 2 you will be opposition. You will at no point of time will be given the same side on the same motion. The topic for round 3 will be different. It will also be given out to you by the end of the class. Great. Let's go to speaker
I
roles.
have a
I'm just
question.
gonna Yeah, Pelina. I was about to recognize you. Would have loved if you just raised your hand, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Pelina, go ahead.
Can somebody speak for like 2 minutes or 1 minute, or does it have to be in the 15-second radius?
It should be 3 minutes.
So like we can't speak way less than that, right?
You can, but we would love if you stick with the time limit, which is
Okay.
3 minutes. Try to. Yes, Satvik. Just lower your hand when you're done with your question. Satvik? Okay, you don't have no question. Great. Elena, do you have a question once again? Can somebody
No.
speak? Oh, yeah, I got your question. Great. Let's go to who goes first, who goes second. So if you look at this image, WSDC format. So the first speaker will be Prime Minister. The second speaker will be, so this happens in this order. I'm just going to write it in the chat box. Prime Minister goes first, speaks for 3 minutes, speaks for 3 minutes. This is the first speaker, okay? Then goes Leader of Opposition, which is the first speaker from opposition, which speaks for 3 minutes. I want you all to hear this very clearly. Then you have Deputy Prime Minister, second speaker from proposition, who will speak for 3 minutes. Then you will have a Deputy Leader of Opposition, which is the second speaker from opposition, speaking for 3 minutes. Then you will have the third speaker, which is Government Whip. Shivansh, you can just rejoin. Government Whip, who will be speaking for 3 minutes. Opposition Whip will be the last speaker who speaks for 3 minutes. Is this clear? I'm just going to repeat it once again. Prime Minister, which is the speaker 1 from proposition, will speak for 3 minutes. Then comes the Leader of Opposition, who will speak for 3 minutes. Then goes the Deputy Leader of Opposition, who will speak for... Then after Leader of Opposition, you will have Deputy Prime Minister. This is how it goes. Just remember it. First, there will be a proposition speaker, then opposition speaker. then proposition speaker, then opposition speaker, then proposition speaker, then opposition speaker. If you follow the chart, it will help you recognize everything. I'm just going to repeat the speaker roles here. Prime Minister first, then Leader of Opposition, then Deputy Prime Minister, then Deputy Leader of Opposition, then Government Whip, then Opposition Whip. All of them speak for 3 minutes, total time 18 minutes. Is this clear to everyone? I'm just going to ask somebody to repeat this for me. Yes, Tuvia.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, please go on with your question.
So if your opposition speaker 3, then would you take 3 minutes to sum it all up, or could you take 1 or 2 minutes to say your rebuttals too?
Depends on you what your strategy is.
Okay.
Kiara?
Ma'am, so there's not going to be any reply speech, right?
No reply speech.
Okay.
Inayat, opposition is the time which is the team which is against the motion. Proposition is the team which is for the motion. So let's say the motion is, I would love if everybody like keeps up their doubts and like Inayat in the chat box as well. So let's say the motion is this house likes cats. So proposition will say yes, I like cats. Opposition will say no, I don't like cats. Satvik.
The first speaker of proposition is prime minister, then the first speaker of opposition is leader of opposition, then
Yes.
the second speaker of proposition is deputy prime minister, then the second speaker of opposition is deputy leader of government, deputy leader of opposition, then third speaker of proposition is government whip, and then the third speaker of opposition is opposition whip.
Lovely. That's amazing. Yes, Elena.
Proposition 3 and opposition 3, they both have to like give the conclusion, right?
Yes.
And we can also include rebuttals in the conclusion.
Yes.
Okay.
iPhone. Who's iPhone? Please rename yourself. Okay, I will only be taking that when you rename it. Sarthak. Please lower your hand, Elena, after this. Yep, Sarthak.
There are different roles. Will we we and our teammates decide who will be the prime minister or the opposition leader, or you will give who the prime minister like that?
Question. So there's a software that decides which team is what, but it depends on communication with the team. So Sarthak, you have to communicate with your team members who like which speaker role will you go. So let's say your first speaker can be somebody else, you can be a second speaker, there can be somebody who's a third speaker. It depends on the team communication. Take help from your parents and recognize who wants to go what. Works? Great, Miraya.
Can you please third speaker one prime minister and all? Can you please share that in chat? Name of speaker.
I'm so sorry, I cannot hear you. Can anybody hear Miraya?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please write it in the chat box? Thank you. Tuvya.
Yeah, ma'am. So if for 2 rounds we have the same motion, so would we get some time to plan our rebuttals?
You usually get 15 seconds of time to prepare your rebuttals, but it should be pre-prepared. You should think about it.
Okay, and
Great.
secondly, if in the first round you're arguing on the motion, then will you get time to prepare a rebuttal before the second round?
Not exactly. So you get so all the motions and everything gets released like 3 to 4 days prior, which means you get enough time to think of what opposition will come up with. So you can possibly take 15 to 20 seconds, or you can just be spontaneous. Here is where your spontaneity gets counted. You have to be thinking on spot. 15 seconds is the best you get.
Okay.
Great. Varnika.
Ma'am, can you please explain what is rebuttal?
Rebuttal is when you respond to your opponent. So let's say Ranvijay is opponent, I am proposition. So rebuttal is where I disprove his argument. So that is called rebuttal. Great. Let's go to speaker roles. I'm going to be catching all the doubts in the next few sessions as well. Great. Speaker one. So think of this like, imagine you are building a house, you are a team. You will be doing three things. The first speaker like puts up the cement, the second speaker builds the house, the third speaker sells the house. This is what all the speaker roles are. The first speaker will set the debate, which means they will be defining the terms of the topic. So let's say if the topic is this house believes that teachers should replace artificial intelligence, you will first define what a teacher is, what is artificial intelligence, what is replacement. You will also think of what your opponent will come up with and you will just respond to it. So this is what it looks like. My opponent will say these things, but I would like to disagree with this. The third thing that you will be doing is you will be introducing arguments to be forwarded by your teammates. So you are a team, you are thinking of three arguments. The speaker one will be introducing those arguments to the judge. You have to be persuasive, you have to be clear. I'm going to be repeating what the speaker one from prime minister to leader of opposition does. They do three things. The first is they define what the motion is. The second thing that they do is they preempt what preemption is. Basically you think and predict what your opposition will come up with an argument and you just respond to it. Like this is what my opposition will say, but I would like to respond to this. The third thing is you will be introducing arguments. You can also leave out preemption. Like if you don't know what your opposition will come up with, that's fine. What you can do is just introduce the arguments which are forwarded by your teammates. The second speaker will do the following. The second speaker will be extending on whatever your first speaker has said. So let's say if the first speaker has said cats are good, the second speaker will be telling me why cats are good, give more reasons, give more number of examples, analysis is basically give more reasons out. You will be giving out rebuttals. Rebuttals are basically directly responding to your opponent. So say this is what my opponent come up with, I'm going to be rebutting like this. The third thing that you will be doing is you have to introduce new examples. If you remember the analogy, this is what the analogy looks like. Amara, don't do this on the screen. The first speaker will be introducing the base, the second speaker will be constructing the house, the third speaker will be selling it. First speaker introduces the arguments, the second speaker extends on the argument, the third speaker summarizes it. Third speaker has to do two things. First, they will be summarizing it. You have to play the role of a biased judge for your team. You have to tell the judge why your team is winning and why your team is capable of winning. The third thing that you were doing is summarizing everything. Like whatever your first and second speaker has said, you will do it. At no point of time, this third speaker will be introducing new arguments because it's too late for the third speaker to introduce arguments. That can only be done by the first and the second speaker. The third speaker has to strictly sell the argument. That's all. Is all of these clear? I'm going to be taking doubts now.
Ma'am, I'm not able to understand speaker 3.
Speaker 3 is just summary. Just give summary of what your first and second speaker has said and why your team should win. Javik.
Um, uh,
Okay. Kiara.
Ma'am, one more doubt that there are also no POIs, right?
No POIs. Amara.
Ma'am, I'm not able to understand speaker 2.
Speaker 2 is just extending. So let's say your first speaker has introduced arguments. The second speaker will be giving more reasons for why the existing arguments are good. Bring more examples, bring more reasons, share more arguments. That's all. Okay, Miraya.
Ma'am, I've raised it back.
I'm so sorry. What?
Ma'am, I was asking that can you please share the names of the speakers of the proposition and opposition team in the chat box?
I have shared it on in the chat box. Just go scroll up.
Okay.
Great. Let's go to how to build an argument. Can some of you tell me what an argument is? What is an argument? What is an argument? Yes, Inayat, then Satvik.
Okay, so an argument is where your opponent is not agreeing with you. So that's how you start an argument, where you don't agree on something. And an argument is like where you uh, argue about a certain thing, like the color pink. She doesn't like the color pink, she'll state why she doesn't like the color pink. And then have to go, you know, you have to also state why you like the color pink.
Yes, that's true. Satvik.
Argument is like when two people fight but don't fight, like they just say. And argument is also when we give reasons that we are saying correct, we are right.
Yes, true. Sarthak.
An argument is like a point in the debate. Like you are giving an argument about like how your team is correct. Like you are giving your judge some points and some examples. So, ma'am, like
Yes, true.
an argument is like an point and an example combined.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to be taking more hands later. So an argument has a formula. It's called claim plus explain plus example. Always remember this formula. Claim is the heading of your argument. So let's say your argument is cats are good. That's your claim. Explanation of that argument is why cats are good. Cats are, let's say, single-handedly, they are good cats. I mean, they are colorful, they are soft, they handle everything on their own. This is the explanation of the claim. Example is, give me an example of a cat which is good. That's all. So an argument is always about giving a heading of that argument, explaining that argument, giving an example. You always have to follow all of these things. Is this clear? Can everyone repeat the formula behind me? Argument is equals to claim plus explain plus example. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes. Ma'am, can you please
Ma'am.
explain the state
That's amazing. Let's go to our introduction. This is
ma'am?
how you introduce. Yep. Is somebody saying something?
Yes, ma'am. Miraya, I'm saying that can you please explain what is the state claim?
What is?
State claim.
State claim is basically giving a heading of the argument. That's all.
Okay, ma'am.
Great. Let's go to introduction. This is how you introduce your arguments. Your introduction should always start with something catchy. Your 30 seconds should be dedicated to how you catch attention of the audience. You can catch the attention of the audience by giving a quote, starting with a fact, starting with a statistic, starting with something that really catches the attention of the audience. You can also do it via rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions. Does anyone know what a rhetorical question is? Rhetorical, yep, Kiara.
Yes, ma'am. So a rhetorical question is something like when you are asking in your speech. Like for example, that why don't we take care of our environment and why do we pollute it? It's just like a question in middle of our speech or at the start.
Yes, a rhetorical question is just a normal question where you don't expect an answer from the audience. It's like a thought-provoking question. Great, let's look at how do you actually introduce. An example is in a debate about school versus homeschooling, so this is how you will introduce. My worthy opponent believes that homeschooling could replace going to school. However, they fail to elaborate how will students be able to get practical knowledge and exposure to friends in their side. So you just ask questions which are tended to have obvious answers. Let's go to body. This is the most important. You will ensure that you spend a lot of time on responses, which is giving rebuttals to your opponent. Yep. Now let's just look at an example where pizza versus burger. So here you will implement your formula. The formula is argument is equals to claim plus explain plus example. Yes, this is how you will be explaining your argument. You first will be proving why your opponents are wrong, why your points are more important, and pointing out flaws in your opponent. An example is in a debate about pizza and burger, our opponents mentioned that burger had more nutritional value than pizza. However, this is how you will respond. However, the burger patty is fried in oil, which is not good for our health. And this is an example. According to research, you can also name which research. Regular intake of burgers can lead to obesity. So you are giving a heading of your argument, explaining it, giving an example, and you're also proving why your opponents are wrong. Is this clear to everyone? That's great. Now let's go to conclusion. Conclusion is you just have to ensure that you're able to give a summary to the judge. Oftentimes, a lot of people are engaged on their phone, they are not listening to you. So, your job is to grab the attention of the judge and summarize why your points are the most important. You are able to sell the arguments. Always end your speech by saying proud to propose if you're on proposition and proud to oppose if you're opposition. You will never say thank you. Always say proud to propose if you are on proposition, proud to propose, and proud to oppose if you are on opposition. Is this thing clear? Now let me just recognize hands if you can play back what was happening. Okay, Avarnika, can you explain what a first, how to give an introduction?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we like we start the debate by, if we are in proposition team, we tell the advantages of the topic, and if we are in opposition,
We ask a rhetorical
yeah.
question.
So, like we ask rhetorical questions
In favor
from
of our
which we don't expect answers.
Yeah, that's great. Sarthak, can you explain the second, how to give a body?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, a body contains like the main information and it is the main part of our entire argument. Ma'am, like in the body, we can talk about and research that a study shows and all of those.
Yes, that's amazing. Who will explain me the third conclusion? How do you give a conclusion? Yes, Inayat, can you explain what a conclusion?
Okay, so conclusion is like when you summarize what you're trying to say. It's you're trying to bore inside. So the conclusion is where you summarize what you're trying to say and what you're trying to state, like why is this bad.
Yes, that's true. Let's go to Tuvia.
Um, your conclusion should tell why you think your answer is right or wrong, and you should start with, if your proposition, you should end with proud to propose, and if your opposition, you should end with proud to oppose.
Yes, that's amazing. Let's go to we will all recognize you. That's not a problem. Please lower your hands. I'm going to be recognizing you all later. Please feel free to use the chat box. We're also running short on time.
Ma'am,
Great.
actually I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Ma'am, when the third speaker of any team ends his or her speech, so at the last words of the speech should be proud to propose or proud to oppose, right?
Yes. Yes, let's go to what to do and what not to do on proposition. You need to ensure that you are able to create definition which is fair for everyone. Let's say if the motion is this house would ban zoos, do not just say that zoos are water bottle because that's an incorrect definition, right? Zoos are basically like an instrument where you capture animals. So always create a correct definition, structure your arguments, present 2 to 3 arguments. What not to do? Do not give unreasonable definitions. Do not like add a time set or a place set. Do not say that this debate is happening in 1990s. The debate is practically happening in the present day, and there is no time set, place set, or there is no illogicality attached to it. Great. Let's go to speaker 1 opposition, what to do and what not to do. This is very similar to speaker 1 proposition. You need to establish that on opposition you are able to create a definition which is agreeable. The second thing that you will be doing is you need to present case line or central argumentation from opposition, what not to do, and that is important. On opposition, you will at no point of time challenge the definition. Let's say your proposition create a definition which is fine, which is agreeable. They did not say that zoos is about capturing water. They said that zoos is about capturing animals. So you will not challenge the definition. It is very rare that a definition is getting challenged by opposition. If let's say your proposition created a definition which is not the correct one, then you can challenge the definition. The second thing is ensure that you're able to structure your arguments and you're able to prove that this is why your opposition wins. Let's go to what your second speaker does and doesn't. The second speaker has to ensure that they rebut, which means respond directly to opposition, present at least one new argument, ensure that you do not repeat your repeat your first speaker, present at least one argument to feed into your new discussion, and always clarify what the debate is about. On proposition, ensure that you do not pick too many points because this is what I've seen. A lot of students pick a lot of points and they never are able to justify. So ensure that you take like minimum 3 arguments, maximum 4 arguments. Try to give examples, try to give reasoning for those argumentations. Avoid making a context which is not correct to the definition. Again, the same thing, right? If let's say zoos is about capturing animals, do not say that zoos is the place where you capture humans. Ensure that you're able to be correct in terms of setting context. Let's go to speaker 2 opposition, do's and don'ts. The first thing that you always have to do on opposition is extend, which means whatever your first speaker has said, specifically leader of opposition, you're able to, let's say, connect with that argument, elaborate on this argumentation. You are able to rebut all of these things. Something that you don't have to do. You don't have to pick too many points to rebut. Always rebut the most central argument which is proposed by proposition. Avoid setting any new context. Do not define keywords which are irrelevant to the debate. Try to be very strategic. Follow the argumentations that your opponents are saying. Do not go out of the bush. Let's go to speaker 3 proposition, do's and don'ts. I will be sharing the slides along with the recording so that you can go through it all over again. Proposition has to ensure that they summarize everything. They're able to defend the team. They're able to rebut all the principled argumentations. This looks like which argument is true and valid. And they're able to prioritize issues and they're able to conclude. On opposition, which means on proposition third speaker, you don't have to present new arguments. This is true. On third speakers, never introduce a new argument. Do not do it. You can rebut, you can give new examples, you can give new mechanisms, but you cannot give new argumentations. New argument is something that only the first and second speaker can give. Speaker 3 opposition, similar thing. Summarize everything, defend your team, prioritize issues by your team, conclude. Do not introduce new arguments in the third speakers. Yep. Let's go to doubts. Do you have doubts in whatever we have discussed so far, do's and don'ts? No doubts. Let's go to how will the judges judge you? Because judges do judge you and they judge you on 3 metrics. 3 metrics or criterias. These are called matter, manner, method. And these are very important. Matter is what is the content you are speaking. Judges always note down what you are speaking. Are you making sense? Are there examples and sufficient reasoning used to back points? If so, how relevant are they? Ensure that your matter is perfect. Your manner your manner looks like always switch on your camera when you speak, always have a proper body language, always have poise, always maintain eye contact. Somebody asked me a question in the last class, do we look at the paper when we speak? You can refer to the paper, but do not look at the paper entirely, that you do not have any eye contact with the judges. Ensure that you have voice modulation. Emphasize on points which are really, really important to you. This looks like that emphasize sadness when you are sharing something which is sad. Emphasize happiness and excitement when you're sharing something which is exciting. The third thing is on method. What is the structure? Is it very easy to understand? Are you using proper words? Are you using correct voice modulation? Are your points elaborated sufficiently? Are you able to give reasoning? All of these things are very important for you to crucially satisfy all the criterias. I'm going to be opening the floor for people to explain me what is matter, what is manner, what is method. Please raise your hand so that I can recognize you.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, doubts first.
Ma'am, what is poise?
What is
Poise.
poise is basically like the way you are sitting. It's also like the way you are carrying yourself. It has to be disciplined. That's the closest I can come up to.
Thank you,
Inayat.
ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay, any other doubts, right?
yes,
No
ma'am,
doubts?
I have.
Okay.
Ma'am, suppose I'm in opposition team and I have prepared my part, but I don't know what the proposition team will speak, so how will I respond?
What you can do is maybe just like share what you thought they could have spoken. If you are very unsure about it, do not do it. It's not strategic. What you can do is just pass on the content to the second speaker, because they will be hearing the opposition speaker, right? What you can just do is introduce your arguments.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other doubts before I recognize people for explaining me the criteria? No doubts. No doubts. Let's go to who will explain manner. Tatvit, can you explain manner?
So manner is the content you present. So what reasoning you've given, what statements you've given. Like for example, you're talking about pizza versus burger and you're taking the side of pizza. You can't just say that pizza tastes good, hence I believe that pizza is better than burger. You have to give some evidence and reasoning, proper facts to support your statement.
Yes, absolutely. That was wonderful. Just Meher, can you explain manner?
A manner is like if you were making eye contact and you were using your voice in a strong voice and not very like a very sad voice, and yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Sarthak, can you explain method?
Method is also called the structure, like in which like the judges see that what the speakers arguments easy to understand, were they able to understand, and were they just too detailed for like a normal person to understand, and like the every point was correct, like every point was elaborated sufficiently. That's
Yes,
method.
that's absolutely perfect. Great, lower your hands, everyone. Let's discuss equity rules. And this is something that came up yesterday as well. It's very important for you to be disciplined. You have to respect everybody within your team and everybody apart from your team. Equity officer is somebody who ensures that the tournament is safe for everyone. There is no hassle. You're able to feel inclusive. The equity committee of the tournament can also disqualify you and discredit for participants who are rude, who are irresponsible, and who are being mean. So ensure that you're able to be on the best behavior possible. Do not make it an unsafe experience for anybody. When you all debate, please ensure that all of your focus is on taking down the argument, not in criticizing the person making the argument. Do not say things like the other speakers are not good enough and I am better. We expect the better comp. Always be kind, compassionate, and genuine. No participant can shout or be overtly aggressive towards other opponents. Debating peacefully is an art which all of us need to appreciate. If anyone has any problems during the tournament, please reach out to us ASAP, reach out to me, reach out to anybody who's there in the organizing committee. Great. Elena, do you have a doubt?
Yeah, is it online or physical?
Online, yes, this tournament is online, which means that if at any point of time if you feel that you're feeling a little bit disrespected, etc., or the environment is unsafe, you can just go to the main room and just raise your complaint. There's also an equity room in the Zoom tournament. Great. I hope there are no other doubts. I'm just going to be releasing the motion. Before I release the motion, I really want all the doubts be cleared. So I'm opening the floor. If you have any doubts regarding the speaker orders, you did not understand what a prime minister does, you do not understand anything, please raise your hand. If not, please write in the chat box as well. There are also like a lot of resources which I've added here. These are the links which really help you to identify how to deal with the debating format that we are teaching you here. Great. Let's look at topic. Motion for round 1 and round 2 and motion for round 3. Like I said in the earlier days, round 1 and round 2 motion is same. Your sides will change. In round 3, this is the motion. Great. Let's understand what motion for round 1 is. Motion is called topic. The topic says this house would aggressively impose an environmental tax on fast fashion companies. Let's also discuss this. What is an environmental tax? It's basically a eco tax or a green tax which is imposed on activities or products which are harmful for the environment. Fast fashion companies are basically your H&M, your Zara, your big fashion companies which are there. Now, can somebody give me 4 arguments? Let's discuss 4 and then opposition. Why should you aggressively impose an environmental tax on fast fashion companies? Let's do 4 and then go against. Do not give against arguments. Yes, let's go to Sarthak.
I have a
And then,
question.
Ma'am,
yeah,
like
questions first.
yes,
Questions first.
Yeah,
ma'am,
what's PHW?
THW is this house word. I'm going to write it in the chat box as well.
But
This
what is
house.
this house word?
This house would is basically a house where you debate. So on proposition, you say this house would do this, and on opposition, you say this house would do that.
Oh, okay.
Works?
So,
Great.
where basically the motion is why we should aggressively impose an environmental tax on fast fashion companies.
Yep, so the topic says you correct. The topic just says that on proposition, will you be aggressively imposing an environmental tax on fast fashion? And on opposition, will you not be imposing an environmental tax on fast fashion? Works? Great. Sarthak, and then Satvik, and then Lee.
ma'am, ma'am, like fast fashion companies are those companies which sell like cheap products. Like those cheap products are pretty harmful for the environment as they don't decompose very fast and like can pollute our environment.
Yes, that's correct, Satvik.
The fast fashion products that are not reliable for us are destroying the environment and will soon destroy humans. We ourselves are destroying ourselves.
That's true. Varnika.
Ma'am, environmental tax is being imposed on fast fashion companies because they're changing the fashion very fast. So,
That's true.
so
I really love the
people
opinions which
are
are coming forth. Yep, so ensure that you're able to reason out as well. Give me more reasons, complete your argument. Yes, Varnika, continue.
So people are buying, suppose, one dress on one day, and just a week after there's a new fashion. So people are throwing away that old dress and they are buying the new thing. So that's a wastage of textiles.
Yes, that's true. Just Meher. Yep, just Meher.
Um, fast food production equals to Iraq, Pakistan, Bangladesh, cheaper production and child labor and inhuman conditions.
Yeah, that's a strong thing. That's a strong claim. Let's go to Inayat. Inayat, did you speak?
I was just wondering that for round 3, what is the topic?
I have it down, but I haven't discussed it as of yet, so I'm going to be going over it once we're over discussing for and op. Great.
Okay.
Let's now discuss opposition for the motion. This House would aggressively impose an environmental tax on fast fashion companies. So you now have to answer me why we should not impose aggressively an environmental tax on fast fashion companies. Why we always focus on the word, define the key terms. Aggressively, what is an impose, what is an environmental tax, what is a fast fashion company, and why would you not do it in opposition? Always remember the key terms when you define everything. Yes, Varnika, then Miraya, then Sarthak.
Ma'am, we should not impose environmental tax on fast fashion companies because many people are employed in the companies, and if we impose the eco tax, so unemployment will increase.
Yes, that's true. That's a very strong point. Yep, Miraya. You're on mute.
The disadvantages of fast fashion is textile, it's child labor, environmental impact, and it also causes carbon emission.
That's true. That's also strong. Satvik.
We should not put a highly aggressive impose on environmental, like we should not put a impose of environmental tax on fast fashion companies, as like those fast fashion companies sell those products for very cheap, which are the only source of some people to like merge in the society who cannot afford like expensive thing, and like it is the only way for them to dissolve in the society and like make a uniform appearance.
Yes, that's true. That's also strong. Sarthak.
Ma'am, Sarthak said when I had to say.
Okay. So Satvik, go ahead.
If we put the if we impose the tax on people aggressively, so people are not really ready for these things, because they are not ready. They are doing this from many years. So first we have to put a normal tax, then next stage, then put an environmental tax.
Yes, that's true. Ranvijay.
We should slowly apply these taxes, as we should allow these companies to operate eco-friendly models.
That's absolutely true. Yes, so you all understood what the first motion is trying to say. Let's go to motion for round three. The motion for round three says this house as animal rights activist. So you're debating as animal rights activist. Imagine you're the animal rights activist. Would prioritize highlighting environmental impacts of meat consumption as opposed to invoking empathy for animals. I'm just going to help you understand what the motion is. So, the motion says on proposition that you're an animal rights activist. Should you prioritize highlighting what are the environmental impacts of meat consumption, or should you just, as opposed to invoking empathy for animals? On opposition, should you, as an animal rights activist, prioritize looking at animals from an empathetic lens, or should you like? So this is if for an off debate. On proposition, you are saying you should highlight environmental impacts of meat consumption, and in opposition you are saying that you should invoke empathy for animals. Is the motion clear to everyone? And then let's start discussing for and op.
Ma'am,
No doubts. Yeah.
ma'am, I wanted to ask.
Can you repeat yourself, Miraya?
Ma'am, I was asking that can you please explain the motion again of round three?
Yes, so I'll explain it. So the motion says this house, as animal rights activist, would prioritize highlighting environmental impacts of meat consumption as opposed to invoking empathy for animals. On proposition, it's saying that you're an animal rights activist. Should you prioritize highlighting environmental effects of meat consumption, how you consume meat? Or should you, on opposition, say that no, I think we should prioritize highlighting like the empathy that we have towards animals? It's a if for an or debate. Works?
So,
Let's just
it's telling like we have to tell the good impacts of the eating meat in opposition and bad of in proposition.
we will discuss the for and op case just to get you a clear idea. Great. For people, please raise your hand if you have a for idea on this.
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, for the motion for round three, we will also have to prepare for both the sides or only for one side.
On both sides.
Okay.
Yes, please raise your hands if you know what the for side is on this motion. You have to tell me on for. You're an animal rights activist. What, like, you should prioritize highlighting like the environmental effects of meat consumption. Yes,
Ma'am, I
Ridansh.
have a doubt.
Yes, doubts first. Yes, Varnika, do you have a doubt?
Ma'am, we have to decide with our teammates that who will be speaker 1, speaker 2, or speaker 3, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, Sarthak, can you? Okay, Ridansh first.
Man, from killing animals, there would
Rearing animals need a lot of water.
man rearing animals would need a water and resources, and this and earth is scarce of water, and it has very short water, so we should not kill animals, and we should for food, and we should save water because one day, and the environment also, if we
Yes, that's true. So,
Ma'am, the impacts of meat consumption can lead to making animals extinct.
yes, that's true. Miraya, do you have a doubt or do you want to say on for?
Ma'am, I want to say for four.
Great. Go ahead.
Ma'am, the too much cause of eating meat can cause loss to biodiversity, and we humans are also impacted by that. Like by eating too much red meat, we could be introduced to coronary heart diseases, stroke, and certain cancers. especially colorectal cancer.
Yes, that's true. Run, Vijay.
Ma'am, I want to speak for most that yes, we should highlight the impact of meat consumption as it has a negative impact of the environment like emission for greenhouse gas.
Yeah, that's true. Let's discuss for opposition now. Opposition, you will have to tell me that you prioritize invoking empathy for animals rather than showcasing environmental impacts of meat consumption. Think of it like this: you're an animal rights activist, somebody who just says that animal rights matter. What would you do? Would you, on proposition, prioritize looking at the bad effects that meat has, like consuming meat has, or would you just say that no, we should invoke more empathy for animals? What is your campaign strategy? That is the debate. Yep, Varnika, you want to discuss opposition?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we should save animals because the people who uh, consume meat consume meat, they are just contributing to ecological imbalance and loss of wildlife.
That's true, but okay, Inayat.
Okay, so ma'am, I also agree into saving for empathy for the animals because is more the meat consumption, the less animals will be, and this will also cause uh, endangered animals, which is not good for the environment because this will disrupt the food chain of a certain animal.
Yes, that's true. Miraya?
Ma'am, uh, ma'am, we should not eat meat because cows and bulls are raised for meat. Meat are socially complex animals who develop friendships and experience pain, fear, and anxiety when eaten or separated from their herd. Painful multi, multi Mutations are common in the industry. Farmers cut off or burn their horns and castrate male calves.
Yes, that's true. Inayat?
Sorry, ma'am, I raised my hand on accident.
Great. I hope there are no doubts on the motion. That's great. I'm going to be opening the floor for any and all doubts that you have. I'm going to be sharing all the recordings and the PPT, everything on the group for all of you to go through it again. And yeah, tomorrow we will be having a practice. And yep, yes, Sarthak.
I had a doubt about the motion for round three. I didn't understand what we have to like, what evidence are there for like opposition for round three. I didn't understand the topic very much.
Oh, yeah. So round three motion says that you're an animal rights activist. This house as animal rights activist. Would you prioritize showcasing like the environmental effects a meat consumption has? I hope proposition is clear to you. Opposition says that you have to invoke. So, you don't have to say that there is a harmful effect when you eat something. You should just invoke empathy. So, like, if you invoke things like sadness for animals being cut, or let's say if you invoke things like, oh, animals are precious, I think your environmental strategy gets more clearer. So what is the benefit of invoking empathy to environmental movements? That is what you will write. I hope that's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Please raise your hands if you have doubts. Yep, and please exit the entire meet if you have none. Varnika.
Ma'am, we will get to know our opponents on the qualification day, right?
Yes. Elena.
For the second motion, what I feel like invoking, like we're invoking empathy for the environmental, like for like to killing animals, like for meat.
Yeah, for animals in general, like how do you feel? So invoke empathy for animals. That's it.
So even if it's related to the for.
Yes.
Okay.
Ridansh. Ridansh, if you have a doubt, please say.
Ma'am, I have another question.
Yeah.
For the third motion, you have to write about the environmental impacts of meat consumption over invoking empathy for animals, right?
Yes.
And what do you mean by the environmental impact?
Environmental impact, it's basically like the outcome that the environment has. It can be positive, it can be negative.
So it's about the environment and not the animal.
Yes, it's about so in environment you have animals as well. There are trees, there are animals, there are humans in that environment, so it's all about everything.
Like the environmental like the impact the environment
Yes.
has from like killing animals to eat meat.
Yes.
Okay.
Ridansh. Great. If you have no doubts, Amira, go ahead. Go ahead. Great. If you have no doubts, please write in the chat box. Just say it out loud. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Bye bye. Have a great day.